Sarpam, or the serpent, a term that I was so afraid of as a child. But now, something that has unveiled the mystical domains of human existence and experience. As I meandered thinking about serpents and their connection with life, I decided to understand it through the compositions of one of the 18 siddhas or seer physicians called Pambati Siddhar. His composition is not an ode to a snake, but rather to the intelligence behind spiritual maturity through altered states of consciousness. In its sleeping state, the serpent roots us to the confines of physical existence, the elements, our tendencies and temptations. But once awakened, it rises above these, connecting us with the universal consciousness understood in Indian philosophy as the yogic Kundalini. As the process takes a serpentine movement, slithering through the spine and its chakras, the serpent is seen as both one that confines and one that releases. Pambati Siddhar reveals through his wisdom the snake cult that was not a part of any religion, but a secret code to transformation and salvation that was embraced by most of the great civilizations, be it Greek, Egyptian, or Chinese. As I present to you the philosophy of the Siddhar through music and movement indigenous to Kerala, I understand the serpent power as one that has connected us through time and beyond. Sarpatatwam, or the Serpent Wisdom.
நாதர் முடி மேலிருக்கும் விளையாடு பாம்பே ஆடு பாம்பே 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 விளையாடு பாம்பே வள்ளை புகும் கோடை தலை வாங்கும் பாம்பே மண்டலமிட்டுடை வலை வண்ண பாம்பே தலை காஞ்சி நின்றிடும் சத்திய பாம்பே தலை காஞ்சி நின்றிடும் சத்திய பாம்பே தலை எடுத்தேறி விளையாடு பாம்பே ஆடு பாம்பே விளையாடு பாம்பே ஆடு பாம்பே விளையாடு பாம்பே ஆடு பாம்பே விளையாடு பாம்பே ஆடு பாம்பே விளையாடு பாம்பே மண்டலத்தை தாங்கும் மீக வல்லமை கொண்டாய் மாயனுக்கு படுகைக்க வள்ள பாயுமானாய் மண்டலத்தை தாங்கும் மீக வல்லமை கொண்டாய் மாயனுக்கு படுகைக்க வள்ள பாயுமானாய் கண்ட பாடை நடுங்கிட காட்சியும் பேற்றை கண்ட பாடை நடுங்கிட காட்சியும் பேற்றை கண்ணை செவியாக கொண்டாய் ஆடு பாம்பே கண்ணை செவியாக கொண்டாய் ஆடு பாம்பே கண்ணை செவியாக கொண்டாய் 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 ஆடு பாம்பே ஆடு பாம்பே விளையாடு பாம்பே விளையாடு பாம்பே ஆடு பாம்பே விளையாடு பாம்பே ஆடு பாம்பே விளையாடு பாம்பே சந்திரனை சூரியனை தவித்திந்தனை சங்கரனுக்காபரணம் தானுமாகினை சந்திரனை சூரியனை தவித்திந்தனை சங்கரனுக்காபரணம் தானுமா மந்திரத்து கடங்கியே மண்டலமிட்டே மந்திரத்து கடங்கியே மந்திரத்து கடங்கியே மந்திரத்து கடங்கியே மண்டலமிட்டே 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 வளைந்து வளைந்து நீராடு பாம்பே வளைந்து வளைந்து நீராடு பாம்பே வளைந்து வளைந்து நீராடு பாம்பே விளையாடு பாம்பே ஆடு பாம்பே ஆடு பாம்பே ஆடு பாம்பே
So Devika, you are a performer. You have created and you dance this extraordinary piece, this Sarpatatwam. And I would love to know a little bit about what initially drew you to entering this world of the serpent and its mystical powers and the hold that it's had over humanity for ages.
Oh my God. Okay, all right. So I was always drawn to Pambati Siddhar's composition. See, Pambati Siddhar is one of the seers or the mystic saints that lived centuries ago. And he has spoken about the Serpent Wisdom, which is what Sarpatatwam is translated into. And the Serpent Wisdom, I think, is just not relevant in the land of Kerala or in India, but it's a very universal concept because you see the same thing in the concept of Ouroboros, and you have the Hermes Caduceus, then you have the wand of Asclepius and the staff of Moses. So all this talks about the continuous, the cycle of birth and death of human life, and this the need to transcend and transform. It is the same philosophy that comes in the Kundalini that you find in yoga. And the Indian philosophy, there is hope, because if one believes in the aspect of birth and death and rebirth, and one does not want to be embroiled in this whole cycle, so the philosophy of the Siddhar brings hope to the fact that there is scope or there is opportunity to break that and to transcend that and to liberate yourself from the cycle. It's just a glimpse of his philosophy. And I wanted to experience that glimpse in what I do most, which is dance. And especially in the dance form of Mohiniyattom, which is a very graceful dance form of Kerala. And the very restraint of the art form of Mohiniyattom, which, as you've seen, is not very physically, it's not very dynamic, but there is a lot going on within. As I started working on the lines and the music of the dance, two very famous temples in Kerala, the snake temples, which is one is the very famous Mannarshala temple, snake temple, and the other one is the Nagekshi Pulikil temple from Palakkad. They called me for a performance. So what began as, perhaps, passion, or it became mandatory that I do this within a stipulated time and I complete the work. And this is not a piece, I realize, that can be done every time on stage. One needs a lot of physical and emotional or spiritual preparation. That is what I experienced, and therefore I thought that it would be best documented.
Since you are also the creator of this performance, could you talk a little bit about what it's like to have the knowledge of serpent wisdom, of the chakras, of the leaving the cycle of birth and death, and as a performer, what is that like to experience that with a witnessing audience?
First, I would like to appease the audience within, and Mohiniyattam being a very meditative art form, the context of serpent wisdom was well in place. But in order to do that, I really needed to know the philosophy properly, so that it was very necessary for the appropriate kind of psychophysical transformation, if there was any. You see, I don't understand it completely, or I have not experienced, sheer bliss. But I now know how you really need to steer. And that was a beautiful experience. Even doing the music for me was pretty harrowing, because you have the first two stanzas, we have reference music for the first two stanzas. But the rest of the stanzas, you had to notate it on your own. And to bring about the spirit or the soul of the lyrics was very, very important.
Because you're creating this from yourself, but with inspiration from the lyrics that you had mentioned. What drew you to those lyrics, and were there particular images within those lyrics that really sort of took hold of you and moved you along this path?
At the beginning of the piece, of course, it just starts off normally, but from the second half of it is when it grows into the artist and perhaps the viewer. The lines where they describe the serpent vision, that was exactly from where I felt some kind of a transformation. The serpent cannot see completely, it gets vibrations. And that to me was yoga-like, because you don't look at things with your eyes, or you don't see things with your eyes, you look inward, and then you get the vibrations and you resonate with the world. The way the serpent, as you see, follows its object, and then the way it strikes, the way one follows mysticism and reality and truth, and the way one should strike, it all comes with an inward perception of the depth of all this.
And you mentioned like a sort of predatorial quality about the snake. And this, what is the relationship between the snake and knowledge, and this sort of striking?
When you try to experience through the lyrics, and when you try to experience it with your own visuals, it's a different game altogether. When you strike, it's gross. The snake is also revered. It's also greatly feared, right? So I wanted to bring that aspect so that it is more communicative. But in a sense, when I do it, I'm not actually striking at the prey. When I do it inside, in my psyche, I'm striking at knowledge. So.
And of course, knowledge is also something we're very afraid of. We're afraid to know yourself.
I mean, it's a very dark place. They say ignorance is dark and knowledge is darker. So.
Yes. What follows after the acquisition of knowledge? I mean, and if you look to your...
because I haven't acquired knowledge.
Well, in terms of that, I'm thinking in terms of your piece, because of course it concludes with this really magnificent destruction of a really articulately imaged serpent on the floor. And could you talk about the significance of that in relationship to the sort of climb of wisdom?
Pambati Siddhar describes the awakening of the Kundalini through the various chakras, and how and it is denoted through the serpentine movement across the 7 energy centers, and its final release to the consciousness. The whole transformation is from the gross to subtle. And the best way to show that in an art form which is based in Kerala and which has such great ritualistic forms like Kalameluthu, or drawing on the floor with the 5 colors. The 5 natural colors, they denote the 5 elements called Panchabhutas. I wanted to express this whole transcendence of form to formless by doing that, by wiping the kalam, where then the elements which are so concrete in an image, through colors, they just become one with the source. So that was the idea, and it is very much in line with the ritualistic aspect of the whole process of drawing the image on the floor.
What do you feel when you perform the destruction? What do you have words to describe?
I don't. I know it's really inexplicable, because for me it was more trance-like.
Trance-like. Of course, especially you talked about reincarnation, and that's this idea of a desire to sort of leave the earth that runs throughout the Hinduist belief. And how do you relate to that as a dancer, occupying your body, creating material things, but at the same time there's a desire to leave it all? How do you negotiate between those two?
Well, I mean, I could perhaps explain it further from a very layman's point of view. We are talking about the spiritual maturity of the person. And on a very lay level, I can say it's all about transcending from the self to selflessness. As you go beyond, as you observe, you reevaluate yourself. It's the same process as sloughing or casting away your skin, how the snake on a periodic basis sheds its skin. So my past shouldn't define my future. It can to a certain extent, but then there are negative aspects that I need to shed away. And this constant reevaluation, re-examination, regenerating of ourselves is in itself a rebirth, happening every day. And there, what exists finally is pure bliss. And when you are able to radiate the selflessness and the love coming and the compassion coming out of selflessness to other beings, and you understand that this body is but a mass that exists in void, and the fact that it is transient and it is impermanent, when you understand that impermanence is there for you and for everybody around, you are better able to relate to other people. The art form is just a medium of experiencing it, and a great medium, because it's Indian classical dancing and it has all the great visuals and the music to enhance this vision and to experience it very, very spiritually.
Meditation, bliss, peace. You mentioned these as motivators for practicing of an art form, as inspiration for creating pieces. Do you feel that you can inspire people to follow this path with your performances and with your work? And in which ways, how does that happen?
I'm sure I could trigger their thought process because I choose to disseminate the thought through the art form of Mohiniyattom, and more so the content of the whole wisdom. And about how it can be, whether it would be applied practically, we do have enough proof that it has been applied, because a person like Pambati Siddhar, he's had very prominent disciples, one of them from Kerala called Shiva Prabhadara Siddha Yogi, who was a philanthropist himself. And then one up to the last century called Sri Narayana Guru. Sri Narayana Guru was a social reformer. He was a revolutionary who brought out equality socially, and it was evident for everybody to see. So although this is mysticism and philosophy, you've actually seen it being applied in daily life. You've actually seen change, people who've brought about change.
And I guess that's one of the most powerful things about art, is that you may not explicitly be saying things, but your intention comes through, which makes it both a very powerful thing, but also a very dangerous thing in some ways, but also a very liberating thing. Devika, I want to thank you for providing such a profound illumination of the image of the serpent, of serpent wisdom, and how they've all funneled in to bring about this really evocative piece of work. And I hope to see more of your work in the future.
Thank you so much, Ian. It was great talking to you.
Lovely to talk to you too.